Hi guys, so Ursula von der Leyen, the President of the European Commission, was in the European Parliament today where she gave an update on the Brexit negotiations. And the main takeaway from this is that there is a lack of trust, I see, between the EU and the UK at the moment. So let's hear what she had to say.
Grazie, Presidente, honourable members. I come to Parliament today to report on our plans for the next European Council on December 10th and 11th. But before I turn to that, please allow me to update you on two issues that will certainly also be topic on the European Council. It's about Brexit and about the situation we are facing with respect to the MFF and Next Generation EU. Honourable members, these are decisive days for our negotiations with the United Kingdom. But frankly, I cannot tell you today if in the end there will be a deal.
So I think it's concerning if she is saying that she cannot tell you if there's going to be a deal, because I think there should be enough in place to decide if there's going to be a deal or not. Now, I think there probably isn't enough time to ratify the deal. I think we're at the stage where it's not so much the problem is the deal, the problem is the ratification. There's not enough time to have the deal ratified by the end of the transition period. So as I said in another video, what's probably going to happen is that it will go over the time. The European Commission and the European Parliament will attempt to ratify it. There won't be enough time because they need to have it translated, they need to have it scrutinized, and there will be a gap between the 1st of January next year and the ratification of this eventual deal. So there will be a period where there will be a no-deal Brexit.
There has been genuine progress on a number of important questions, on law enforcement and judicial cooperation, on social security coordination, and also on goods, on services and transport. We now have an outline of a possible final text.
So I think this is important. I think we need to also recognize the positive of this. So there is an agreement on social security. So, for example, citizens living in European Union citizens living in the UK, British citizens living in the European Union. I assume this is what she's talking about here. The social security for those, so the benefits for people living in different parts of Europe, be it in the UK or in the European Union. So those people are protected from a social security point of view. And then she said also goods and services. So we're probably talking about the tariffs and checks and so forth. So there is something in place to go with.
In these areas, there are still some important issues to agree, but they should be manageable. However, there are still three issues that can make the difference between a deal and no deal. The crucial topics for the European side are, of course, questions linked to the level playing field, the governance, and fisheries. And with very little time ahead of us, we will do all in our power to reach an agreement. We're ready to be creative, but we are not ready to put into question the integrity of the single market.
Okay, and I think this is fundamental for Brexiteers to understand. The European Union will not put into jeopardy the single market. They will protect the single market. You know, and I said this before, the European Union will not say, okay, we'll just bend over backwards in order to get a deal because, you know, we want to trade. Trade is important. Of course, it's massively important to the European Union. But protecting the single market, protecting the European Union itself is fundamental. And Brexiteers don't seem to understand that. They think it's all just about money, all just about trade. No, it's not. There's something much deeper at stake here. And the European Union will protect itself. as I've said before, when it comes to Ireland or it comes to France or to other countries that need to trade with the UK, and there's a risk of a no-deal Brexit, and it's going to be very expensive for those countries, the European Union have said that they are standing by, ready to dump a lot of money into those countries if necessary to protect their economies. Because they know that if those economies suffer really badly because of a no-deal Brexit, it will create political turmoil in those countries, and it will drive a wedge between those countries and the European Union. I don't think it's really that possible, but maybe that's a concern that they have. And they will stand by their member states. Trade is, as I said, is important, but it's not fundamental, and Brexiteers don't seem to understand that.
The main safeguard for European prosperity and wealth. And this is why we need to establish robust mechanisms ensuring that competition is and remains free and fair over time. In the discussions about state aid, we have still serious issues, for instance, when it comes to enforcement. Significant difficulties remain on the question how we can secure now and over time our common high standards on labour, on social rights, on the environment, the climate change and tax transparency. You know all these standards. We want to know what remedies are available in case one side will deviate in the future. Because trust is good, but law is better.
That's, I'm pretty sure directed at Boris Johnson and his internal market bill. You know, trust is good, but law is better. And excuse me, I couldn't agree more. Boris Johnson has said that, you know, he's willing to break international law. Trust has been completely destroyed here. How can you trust someone if they said that they're going to break the law? Now, I don't know what's happening behind the scenes, whether Boris Johnson has agreed something separate with the European Union, you know, something like, don't worry, we're not actually going to go ahead excuse me, with the internal market bill when it comes to Northern Ireland. It's just an internal thing, you know, something separate. But the European Union are not going to just take his word. I wouldn't trust Boris Johnson as far as I could throw him. So, and nobody should, because he's not an honest character, an honest actor. So I think the European Union are making it very clear here that we can trust people to a certain extent, but the law is better. It's better to have something written down.
And crucially, in the light of recent experience, a strong governance system is essential to ensure that what has been agreed is actually done. Concerning fisheries, no one questions the UK's sovereignty in its own waters. But we ask for predictability and guarantees for our fishermen and fisherwomen who have been sailing in these waters for decades, if not centuries.
So this, I think here, predictability, that fishermen or fisherwomen need to know what's the plan going forward. Can we do this? Can we do that? And I think it makes sense. We also have to remember that fishermen and fisherwomen in the UK, in many cases, they sold their fishing rights away decades ago to private companies, to rich individuals, and now they're complaining that that fishing has been undermined. And we also have to remember that the majority of fish caught in UK waters is actually sold to the European Union. People in the UK don't eat the fish that's actually caught. Very little of it is actually consumed in the UK. The vast majority is actually sold. So so using fishing as some sort of bargaining chip, the Brexiteers are using it in the wrong way, I think.
Honourable members, as I said, the next days are going to be decisive. The European Union is well prepared for a no-deal scenario, but of course we prefer to have an agreement. So,
and I've said this before, the European Union would prefer to just dump cash into countries that are, are on the edge or who are bordering the UK and who will suffer in a no-deal Brexit. But it makes more sense to give them financial support than to undermine the European Union as a bloc.
I fully trust in the skillful steer of our chief negotiator, Michel Barnier. But one thing is clear. Whatever the outcome, there has to be, and there will be, a clear difference between being a full member of the Union and being just a valued partner.
So just two things here. I want to say, once again, she's saying, we stand by Michel Barnier. If you read the Express, which is a pro-Brexit, pro-Tory newspaper, they continually pump out this propaganda that Michel Barnier is about to be fired. He's being chastised by the European Union president or the Commission president, which couldn't be any further from the truth. And they've been running these stories for months or even a year. The other point she's saying here is that there has to be a clear difference between being a member of the European Union and being a valued partner. In the sense, this is once again a message for the Brexiteers. You can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't be outside and be the same as a member. There is a clear difference. And that's something that the Brexiteers were trying to sell to the public at the beginning of Brexit. We can be outside and have the same benefits as being a member, but it's not possible.
I am fully aware of the challenges the current situation is creating, especially for the Parliament and the ratification process. And this is why I sincerely thank for your support and your understanding. As in the past, we will walk those last miles together.
Okay. And that's all she has to say in it. She just she starts speaking in German about the same things. Now, I think as I said at the beginning, I think what's going to happen is there won't be a deal. There won't be a deal in time to have it ratified, but probably between now and December, there will probably work out a deal, and then it will be ratified sometime next year in the European Parliament and European parliaments. So I think that's what's probably going to happen at this stage. There isn't time to have the deal ratified before the end of the transition period. We'll run out of time. We'll go into January without a deal, which is going to be very interesting because even Michael Gove had presented the worst case scenario when it comes to a no-deal Brexit. And we're going to see what it's going to be like for the UK to be outside the European Union without a deal. But I think that will be a temporary situation. It will be ratified eventually. But I think there is some positives to be taken from this. But of course, those last three issues need to be sorted out. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think about all of this. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot.